Hello, everyone. So this will be my discussion post for the Academic Freedom Free Speech Module 4 in our Critical Issues course. Um, the reading I guess my response to the reading kind of left me with more questions than uh, concrete knowledge per se, or um, more things to ponder as far as how the university is ran and kind of what our outcomes are, whether they are implicitly or explicitly stated. So I guess I'll start with academic freedom. Given the reading, is the freedom of scholars to pursue the truth in a manner consistent with professional standards of inquiry. And I'm assuming that would be the scientific method, working with as little bias as possible, being honorable and just in how you slice your data, etc., etc. And I agree that open pursuit of knowledge and truth provides substantial benefits to society. And I think that's kind of what the whole point of higher education is. We're going to educate these people to be informed in these sectors of study or fields of study so that they contribute what they can to create the best possible unit or measure or whatever we got, trying to work within society. Um, I thought it was interesting how academic freedom in the Constitution only applied to scholars, not necessarily students. I wasn't sure. I don't know if it was clear. I just missed it in the reading. If students were considered young scholars or scholars to be, or if that just applied to the instructors hired. Which moved me to the next point, which is tenure was a way to protect faculty's ability to seek the truth. And I can understand, but according to the reading, I can see why tenure would be good or bad. As and I don't necessarily know if a lot of professors on our campus, Wilmington State University, are necessarily interested in pursuing the academic truth or just making sure they kind of have job security. I have never talked to a professor who was seeking tenure say that they were looking to seek tenure in order to continue to examine some critical issue or some deep bias that the university or the powers that be and local legislator would be opposed to. Normally, when professors say they're seeking tenure, it's to say, like, hey, or normally flip that around. Um, People are like, I have to produce this amount to be tenured. So, like, I want to be tenured, not necessarily because I'm in danger of losing my job due to me pursuing something right or wrong. It's I just want to publish as much as I can, do as much research as I can, to go in an academic journal to make sure I have a job to the end. I can also see what constitutes how, like, according to the government, how some things would or would not be considered academic freedom. They was talking about how they were banned to go to Cuba under the Bush administration, and I can see like how certain things that academics might want to study being frowned upon if it was a matter of national security or would jeopardize the lives of the researcher or those that go on to research. Moving forward to kind of like the administrator's role, the institution's role, and academic freedom and critical thinking, I wonder. The Socrates piece led me to believe that academic freedom was necessary to ensure that students were critical thinkers. So this is academic freedom. You need this in order to make sure that people think critically and are able to understand, process, and digest things that they come across, not only in their schoolwork but in life in general. Right? Okay, cool. But I wonder now if the university is necessarily doing either of those. Are we really prompting critical thinking and academic freedom, or are we teaching people to think in a certain ideology of which the administrative culture is, or not challenging them to think at all? In other words, I'm asking: are we really probing our students to think critically? Are we probing or prompting or enabling our faculty to teach students and really challenge and shape the foundation of what they know? Or are we just kind of manufacturing and reproducing ideology, and as long as students subscribe to the ideology of the institution, they're good to go? A sociologist would argue that the whole point of education is to socialize, and as long as we get them to a point where they have adopted the beliefs that we have, then the goal of education is done. The debate can go either way. I like the piece about institutional autonomy, and that kind of like goes back to my previous point. A little bit about free speech, because I'm kind of running out of time. I think free speech is necessary on campus. I'm writing a paper about speech codes right now for my legal issues course, and free speech is a way to think critically, I think, to learn tolerance, to learn how to have a conflict with civility. And I think sometimes when people say things that may be insensitive or may be ignorant of certain facts, it's a good opportunity for students to learn. That is the definition, I think, of a teachable moment, or the perfect opportunity for a teachable moment. I also found it interesting that courts still resist speech codes while universities still enforce them. I'm really interested now to see kind of what UNCW's stance is on speech codes, and if we enforce them or speech zones. The Respect Compact is something that comes to mind immediately. And I like the piece of the article where it talks about how when you have free speech and people, you have, staunch conservative and very openly liberal, how that can create tension and how that makes it harder for administrators to kind of solve problems. But I think that is not necessarily always a bad thing. Of course, when it deadlocks the decision-making process, it's an issue. But I think sometimes a little bit of conflict kind of is necessary for learning, since learning is not linear. Sometimes, you need conflict sometimes for new productive ideas to emerge. So, okay, I'm over my time now a little bit. I hope that made sense. My thoughts are kind of all over the place. As like I said, I have more questions than I did concrete knowledge after reading it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think. Looking forward to talking with you guys next Monday about it. Hope everyone having a great night. Talk to y'all soon.